Hello, everybody. I am Dr. Rita Shah. I am a childbirth educator conducting 9 months childbirth classes in Mumbai, India for almost 30 years now. And I have the pleasure of talking to you regarding breastfeeding. Breastfeeding is very, very important, as everyone knows, both to the mother as well as to the baby. But it is exclusive breastfeeding that's really very, very important. So, what does exclusive breastfeeding mean? It means you are not going to give a combination of formula feeds along with your breast milk. When a mother does that, she is not exclusively breastfeeding her baby. And through the session, you will realize how important it is not to introduce even a single formula feed to your child. But for that, you really need to pursue a lot of things even before your baby is born. So, to give you all this information, we have with us two lovely mothers. They don't look like mothers at all, very pretty and very shapely. This is Resham, this is Darshana, and they are also having babies. They also want to exclusively breastfeed their babies. They have a strong will to do that, and that is why they are here with us to really get themselves enlightened, informed about everything related to breastfeeding. So, as these people ask us the questions, probably it will be an answer to so many of your queries as well, and it will help you to turn your mind not to introduce any formula to your baby. So, let's hear from Darshana first.
So, doctor, I have a question. What should I include in my diet to increase my milk formation?
Actually, the mother's milk supply does not really depend upon so much of a diet that comes from the mother's side. A cow eats grass, she doesn't have milk, yet she produces milk for the rest of the world. So it is not totally dependent upon the food intake. Yes, it's a different matter altogether. If the mother thinks she has to come back to shape very quickly post delivery, she does not eat at all, she starves herself, then this is the kind of mother who will not be able to produce sufficient adequate milk for her baby. But if the mother is well relaxed, positive, happy, eating a well balanced, nourishing diet, she will be able to produce whatever amount of milk her baby asks for. So it is not the supply of milk on the mother's part is not totally dependent upon the diet. Of course, initial stages, fluids make a lot of difference. Body requires fluid to make more milk, and there is a lot of myth prevailing in our communities in India where they tell the mothers not to drink too much of fluid or water even if she is thirsty because that will make her bloat. So this is a wrong myth. You should drink and consume as much as you want and a little more than that as well, because more the fluid the mother consumes, she will be able to produce enough quantities of milk for the baby. But of course, a well balanced diet. You can't just have something on one side, only eating proteins or not having vitamins, vegetables. It has to be a well balanced diet. Automatically, milk production is adequate.
Doctor, I want to exclusively breastfeed my child, but I also want to know sometimes people put certain restrictions on us at home, like you can't eat pizza, or maybe you can't have ice cream, or you can only eat certain things. But does that really affect the child?
Ideally, this holds true for the first couple of days, because after giving birth to the baby, your baby is very, very tiny. The baby does not have any immunity in the system. In case if you eat any outside food that could be contaminated, your baby is likely to become the victim of that infection. So that is why actually the rule for not eating outside food for the first 4 to 6 weeks. But later on you can enjoy your life eating whatever you want. But every now you are a mother to the child is dependent only on you as a source of nutrition. So you have to eat sensibly. You can't make a meal out of junk food, but you can always enjoy everything that you want.
Okay. What about what are the health benefits of breastfeeding for my baby?
So basically, everyone knows in the world that when the mother breastfeeds her baby, the baby is going to be the biggest beneficiary. But this does not hold true, only baby's benefits. Along the way, we are going to discuss the mother's benefits also. But since you've asked the question, let me tell you that the most important benefit that happens to the baby is the bonding that gets created between the mother and the baby. Even though the father is an equal parent, the father does not get this privilege. So, this is very much required in today's times, especially when you are going to send your kids away either for studies or for work far, far away from you. This initial bonding really helps. It is this bonding when the baby comes to the mother's breast helps the baby to settle down so well in the first couple of days. You have no idea. Imagine yourself going into a different environment. How would you hold yourself? So the baby is going through the same issues, and if you are able to assure the baby and reassure the baby by taking the baby to the breast, the baby settles down much faster in the new environment. Breastfeeding also helps to increase the immunity in the baby. We have seen breastfed babies, they fall sick not as often as a formula fed baby, and by chance, even if an illness does set in, the recovery from that illness is much faster simply because lots of antibodies are getting into the baby through the mother's milk. So, like that, there are umpteen number of benefits that the baby gets, and once you have become a mother, I think the responsibilities of keeping your baby healthy falls over your shoulders, and no intelligent mother would shun this idea.
How does breastfeeding help me keeping the baby safe from diseases?
Yeah, so what happens when the mother is breastfeeding her baby? Through the milk, through the breast milk, she is able to deliver lots of antibodies into the baby's system. In a newborn baby, it takes 6 weeks for its own body to develop the immune system. So it does not have the resistance to fight out the infections, and being so tiny, it is very vulnerable to catch anything that's prevailing around that time. And nowadays we are seeing that viral is prevalent all through the year. Sometimes they say it is winter virus, sometimes it is monsoon virus, sometimes it is summer virus. So it is the mother's milk that gives a lot of protection to the baby against all kinds of diseases. And we have seen that in case if the mother also falls sick, say the mother is down with severe diarrhea, her body tries to fight out the diarrhea infection, and she passes on the diarrhea antibodies into the baby, so that way the baby gets stronger and does not develop this in future as well. So the only source of getting lots of immunity is through the mother's milk.
So in case the mother's sick, she can still continue to.
Oh, yes, yes. Even if the mother is down with 105 degrees of temperature, she can very well breastfeed. She may be taking antibiotics, she can breastfeed. She may be having nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, she can still breastfeed. Under all circumstances, the mother can breastfeed the baby.
So doctor, I wanted to know what are the health benefits for me for exclusively breastfeeding?
Yes, this is very, very important because everyone is of the opinion that breastfeeding is only going to benefit the child, but people have no idea that it is going to benefit the mothers as well. So let us see. Firstly, most of the people are aware that when you're breastfeeding, you come back to your original weight much faster because breastfeeding makes you lose all the fats that you have deposited in pregnancy, and that is, I think, everyone is looking out for in today's times. Breastfeeding also makes your bones much stronger, so the onset of osteoporosis gets delayed to a very great extent in mothers who have breastfed the babies, and that is why our great grandmothers never knew what osteoporosis was, because they fed their babies year in and year out. And the biggest advantage of breastfeeding is that it keeps the mother's tempers at a stable level. Post delivery, she is very, very anxious, very irritable. When she breastfeeds her baby, the hormone that releases in her body, it's the prolactin hormone that keeps her calm And of course, the greatest advantage that a mother can get on breastfeeding in today's times is coverage from all deadly cancers happening to women: breast, ovarian, and uterine. So, these are, I think, very, very great benefits that a mother achieves on breastfeeding her baby. These benefits come to the mother only if she exclusively breastfeeds her baby, not if she is using a combination.
Okay, interesting.
So, doctor, is milk supply different for each mother?
Basically, mother's milk is mother's milk, right? But every child would need a specific amount of milk, and the body of the individual mother produces milk to suit the baby's need. So probably one baby needs a little higher quantity, that mother will be able to produce that much amount of milk. So the milk remains more or less the same, but it is how much the baby needs. It also depends on how much the mother is breastfeeding the baby, because the more the mother breastfeeds, the more the milk supply she will be able to get. So if mothers who are a little worried and anxious, they have to increase the frequency of breastfeeding, things would settle down much faster.
So, do you think I hear a lot of people saying the shape of your nipples or the size of your breasts, that also helps or does not help in breastfeeding?
The size or shape of the breast does not hinder the milk production. Okay, so every mother, whatever the shape and size she has been born with, she will be able to produce milk for her baby, provided she does the right thing. She learns the proper latch. Very, very important is the latch of the baby at the mother's breast. That is important, not the shape and the size of the baby. How is she holding the baby at the breast? How many times is she breastfeeding the baby? These are all important issues, and not the external appearance.
So, doctor, how can I take care of my breast to encourage breastfeeding?
Yeah, so the care starts right from your pregnancy. Nobody should think that once my baby is born, then only I will look after my breast. No, it is important to moisturize, to nourish your nipples and the areola right from the pregnancy. You have to do a good childbirth class to understand what are the things that are really required, so that you have a lesser issues, because sore nipples is one of the major hurdles for making breastfeeding unsuccessful. And people generally claim that sore nipple pain is worse than the labor pain also. So you can very well imagine how excruciating that pain can be. So prevention is always better than cure, and for that you need to prepare your nipples, your areola right from the time you are in your pregnancy stage.
So, doctor, how can my family and my partner help me in this during my breastfeeding journey?
Yes, by and large, I feel Indian families are very supportive. But as far as breastfeeding is concerned, I think sometimes they interfere a lot. The first thing everyone tries to do is put that thought in the mother's mind that she's not able to produce enough milk for the baby. A small child is obviously going to cry. Every cry of the newborn baby is not a cry of hunger. There are so many things that the baby can cry for. So, bringing down the morale of the mother is very easy on the part of the elderly people in the family. So, you have to keep your mind very, very strong. No matter what somebody tells you, you know that you have the baby and you'll be able to produce enough milk for your child. Sometimes I have seen husbands are also very loving, but they put a spoke in the wheel. They cannot see the mothers getting up in the middle of the night 2 or 3 times just to breastfeed the baby, and then he says, "Oh, forget it. Now, baby is going to grow in any case. Why do you have to wake up so many times in the night? Doesn't matter. During the night, why don't you formula feed so someone else can also feed the baby?" No, you have taken a lot of pain in carrying the baby all through the pregnancy. So it is very essential that the first few months you get this established very well in the baby, and not really get curbed by the pressure coming from the family. So try while in your pregnancy, whilst you're breastfeeding, if somebody is trying to curb you, you can very well put your foot down and say, no, I am producing enough milk, I'm sure about it. I have learnt in the class what is the best way to know that I am giving enough to my baby, and I would not like to take your advice as far as this is concerned. Very, very politely and very nicely, you put your foot down and carry on with what you have to do.
So, how can I set up a breastfeeding routine for my child?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. The first 4 weeks, 5 weeks, you are almost with the baby all the time. Your body also needs to understand. Your child needs to understand you. So, that close proximity of the mother and the baby is very much essential. And then gradually, you can start living your life. You can start having a me time for yourself. And the biggest benefit in today's times, which the earlier mothers did not ever get, is the introduction of breast pumps. Today, using breast pumps will allow you to give your breast milk to the baby even if you're not around. So, what you have to do is you have to understand how are you going to use the breast pumps, how are you going to store the milk, how are you going to reuse the milk. All these little things, if you learn ahead of time, your life will be extremely simple, easy, and you will have lots of fun. You will enjoy everything in life because you're not getting stuck up at home
Right.
simply because of breastfeeding your baby. But one word of caution, you cannot substitute breast pump with feeding the baby at the breast. If you think that all the feeds I will just use the breast pump and then not put the baby to the breast, slowly the milk production is going to lessen. Your breast can produce milk only with the sucking of the baby. So the breast pump is an asset, and we are getting very wonderful breast pumps where mothers use it even when they get back to work.
Correct.
And 3 or 4 or 6 feeds also can be given through the breast pump, but then rest of the feeds she's still feeding the baby at the breast.
So, are breast pumps only for working mothers?
No, it is meant for each and every mother, I would say. Every mother should invest in getting a breast pump because that will make her life very easy. If she had a very tiring day, if she was very unwell, she cannot wake up in the middle of the night, someone else can feed the baby, and you are totally at ease that okay, no one is giving formula to my child, I'm still giving breast milk to the baby. Suddenly you have to go out somewhere, you're not able to reach home because of the traffic or some other reason. If there is enough breast milk at home, it can be given to the baby.
Okay.
When you're traveling, pumping out, storing milk, you don't get left out. You are not traveling just to stay in the hotel room all the time.
Yeah.
You want to enjoy all the sightseeing, you want to go to good restaurants. All that you can do if you have been using a breast pump. So breast pump is a real good asset, and nobody should ever think that breast pumps are harmful. They will reduce the milk in the breast, they are hurting the breast. If you buy a substandard breast pump, then all these issues can come up. But if you buy a very good company, you will face no problems at all. In fact, the breast pump can be used for the second baby. It can be passed on to the other friends and relatives as well.
Thank you, doctor, for enlightening us. I knew the benefits of breastfeeding, but I think the benefits of exclusive breastfeeding outweigh those in a much better way. So, thank you for all the advice.
Most welcome, Darshana, and I wish you all the best. And I'm sure if there's any other queries on your mind, you can always consult me.
I'll do that. Thanks.
Thank you, doctor, for this informative session. I'm really glad to know that breastfeeding is not only beneficial for our babies but also for the moms, and we can save ourselves from cancer, osteoporosis, and live a healthier and happier life, more bonded with our child and family.
Yes, that's so true. That's so true. I'm so happy you had the opportunity to ask all these queries, and I'm sure now you will not waver from exclusive breastfeeding. It's not only breastfeeding, it's exclusive breastfeeding. So now all of you know how important it is to exclusively breastfeed your baby. I'm sure every day when you're saying your prayers, add one sentence that do or die, I'm going to breastfeed my baby. And this strong will of yours will definitely make you breastfeed your baby. It is a little difficult in the initial period, I do agree, because two new players in a game is not a good idea, but that's how nature has designed it to be. But I'm sure you will overcome it very soon, and you will be the happiest mother on this earth. I wish you all the best, and I wish all the babies a very, very good health from their mothers. Thank you.